King Charles's meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at Sandringham sparks diplomatic tensions with Donald Trump. In a move that has sent ripples through the global diplomatic community, King Charles III's decision to host Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at Sandringham has reportedly caused unease among key world leaders, particularly former U.S. President Donald Trump. The high-profile meeting, which was intended to underscore Britain's ongoing support for Ukraine amidst the ongoing conflict with Russia, has inadvertently triggered a shift in diplomatic sentiment, with sources in Washington suggesting that Trump perceived the encounter as a personal slight. Diplomatic fallout with Trump. According to sources close to the matter, Trump's reaction to the meeting has been characterized by feelings of diminished importance and a cooling of relations with the United Kingdom. The former president reportedly felt less special upon seeing the widely circulated images of King Charles warmly welcoming Zelensky at Sandringham, with insiders claiming that the encounter made Trump question the significance of his own standing with the British monarchy and government. Reports from GB News suggest that the timing of the meeting was particularly sensitive, as it followed an invitation extended to Trump for a state visit to Britain. The images of King Charles standing side by side with Zelensky, symbolizing solidarity and mutual commitment to Ukraine's defense and sovereignty, are said to have diminished the perceived importance of Trump's forthcoming visit in the eyes of the former president. Trump values being treated as a central figure on the world stage, one insider noted. Seeing King Charles extend such a high level of hospitality to Zelensky, especially so close to his own scheduled visit, was interpreted as a deliberate snub. It's not that Trump opposes support for Ukraine, it's that he felt upstaged and undervalued. The fallout has reportedly led to subtle but noticeable diplomatic shifts between the UK and Trump's circle. While the British government has insisted that the meeting was purely a reflection of the UK's broader strategic alignment with Ukraine and not a calculated political maneuver, the perception of favoritism has left Trump's team wary. Timing and context of the meeting. The meeting between King Charles and Zelensky took place at Sandringham, one of the royal family's private residences, which holds deep historical and personal significance for the monarch. The decision to host Zelensky at such an intimate venue was seen as a powerful statement of support for Ukraine, particularly at a time when international backing for Ukraine's defense against Russian aggression has shown signs of wavering in some quarters. The meeting came just days after a tense exchange between Zelensky and Trump's political allies in Washington. According to reports, during a meeting in the Oval Office, Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance pressed Zelensky on his government's use of U.S. military assistance and its long-term strategic goals. The exchange reportedly became heated, with Trump and Vance expressing frustration over Ukraine's continued calls for increased support while questioning the transparency and effectiveness of the aid already provided. Against this backdrop, the decision by King Charles to extend such a warm and public display of support to Zelensky was seen as a direct counterbalance to the skepticism emanating from Washington. King Charles is not a political figure in the same way as the Prime Minister or members of the cabinet, a senior British official explained. But the monarchy holds significant soft power. Hosting Zelensky at Sandringham sent a clear message to both the Ukrainian people and the international community that Britain remains steadfast in its support for Ukraine. UK government's response. In response to reports of Trump's displeasure, UK government officials have been quick to downplay any suggestion that the meeting was intended as a political signal or a diplomatic slight. A spokesperson for Buckingham Palace stated that the King's engagements are decided independently of the government and reflect the monarch's commitment to supporting international stability and humanitarian efforts. The King's decision to meet with President Zelensky was entirely consistent with Britain's broader diplomatic position, the spokesperson said. The United Kingdom has been a key supporter of Ukraine since the beginning of the conflict, and the King's meeting reaffirmed that support. Any perceived slight or misinterpretation is unfortunate but entirely unintended. Foreign Secretary David Cameron echoed this sentiment, emphasizing that King Charles's role as head of state allows him to engage with global leaders in a manner that reflects Britain's values and strategic priorities. The King's meeting with Zelensky was not about sending a message to any particular leader. It was about reinforcing Britain's unwavering commitment to Ukraine and the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity, Cameron stated. Strategic implications. Despite the diplomatic friction caused by Trump's reaction, analysts suggest that King Charles's meeting with Zelensky may ultimately strengthen Britain's strategic position. By aligning himself publicly with Ukraine's leader, the King has reinforced Britain's leadership role within the Western alliance and positioned the monarchy as a stabilizing force amidst growing geopolitical uncertainty. Soft power matters in diplomacy, said Dr. Emily Harding, a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. King Charles's meeting with Zelensky sends a clear message that Britain is not wavering in its support for Ukraine, even as political tides shift in Washington and elsewhere. This kind of symbolic gesture can have a significant impact on international morale and strategic cohesion. However, the potential for long-term diplomatic fallout with Trump remains a concern for British officials. Trump remains a dominant figure within the Republican Party and is widely expected to be a contender in the next U.S. presidential election. A strained relationship with Trump could complicate future U.S.-UK cooperation on issues ranging from trade to security, especially if Trump returns to office. There's no question that the British government values its relationship with Trump and his political circle, a senior diplomatic source said. But they also understand that Britain's broader strategic commitments, particularly in supporting Ukraine, cannot be compromised to appease any single political figure. Balancing those priorities will be key in the months ahead. Trump's broader reaction. In the wake of the meeting, Trump's response has been characteristically pointed. In a post on his social media platform Truth Social, Trump wrote, "Interesting to see the UK rolling out the red carpet for Zelensky while they keep begging the US for more trade deals. America first means putting America first. Our allies should remember that." The post reflects Trump's long-standing skepticism of foreign aid and his belief that US allies should shoulder more of the financial and strategic burden of international conflicts. However, Trump's comments also highlight the underlying tension between his transactional approach to foreign policy and Britain's more values-based approach to international engagement.